the ultimate alternative music channel. This is Revolution Radio.
I know that you've talked about it at length already.
That's okay. It's a new day.
It's a new day.
Yeah.
Bunch of new faces. What was it? Like, what was the catalyst for that? And like, how long have you been thinking about that?
Right. Thank you for asking. And I will talk about this every day if I have to, because this conversation needs to continue. So thank you.
Absolutely.
For not being
Cheers.
just jumping in when it was, when the block was hot. Like, I'm like, this is a great time to talk about it. I've had enough time to reflect as well. I didn't think about it at length. Like 3 days before I left, I just had an inkling and intuition. I felt like I needed to do this in a way that aligns with my core values, especially over the last 5 years, since my mom transitioned. It's like everything has to be meaningful. What's the meaningful mission? You know, how could I have impact more than influence? And so, you know what I'm saying? Like this whole influencer space, it's really, it's really tough to look at times.
I completely agree.
You're right?
Yeah, totally.
So, with what's happened over the years in us all learning about Indigenous lives, Indigenous perspectives, stories, etc., I was like, okay, I hadn't sung the anthem literally in years. Like when they asked me to do the anthem in Parliament Hill, I was co-hosting for Canada Day some years ago. I declined, and I declined God Bless the Queen. I said, listen, you have other singers. If they want to do it, fine. I will host. I'll do my Jully thing. You want the energy, and I'll sing my own songs. But now here comes the biggest stage for the Canadian anthem on the planet. This is the largest stage globally, because the Super Bowl doesn't have our anthem. And so I'm like, okay. And it kind of reminded me, even Rihanna turned down the Super Bowl performance with what's going on with Kaepernick and all those.
Yeah.
Years, right.
Yeah, when it was in Atlanta. Yeah.
Right. So then here comes an opportunity again. How do you make it meaningful? What message do you want to send? So, but for me, it's like, all right, I spoke to Indigenous peoples that I know well, close. And I had already made the decision up, but I said, I don't want this to look like some sort of publicity stunt. When I shared with them, tears, goosebumps. Even now I got goosebumps. Like because the message from them was, you would do that. It didn't feel sacrificial to me. Mm-mm. It didn't feel sacrificial at all. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm just doing a vocal land acknowledgement. We do land acknowledgements every day. All these meetings, events, we are on the Mississaugas of the credits on Indigenous lands. I'm like, I thought I was putting kale in the smoothie. Like, I'm like, we got some mango, strawberry, put some kale, they won't taste it. I really didn't think people would notice as much as they did. Mm-hmm. And I have no regrets. I'm glad I did. And it's changed my life. It's changed my life forever. So,
it really has.
Yeah, it really, and you've gotten both amazing feedback from it and venomous feedback from it. Chuck D was my favorite. You know, like it was my girl at Jully Black just kicked the most soulful "Oh Canada" I ever heard, and I'm just thinking, Chuck D, that's gotta feel good.
And it was amazing. It really was. Your performance was just sensational. It was so good.
Yeah, there was one phrase in it, and you just see Pascal Siakam's head just go down in like reverence to what you're doing, you know, like, so just, yeah. But
and it was spiritual. It was, I thank everyone for supporting me through it. And what was funny to me, what gave me a sense of, I guess, relief and calm is when the guy jacked up my intro. And when the announcer jacked up the intro, if you watch the video, I laugh. I'm walking up because the only thing that was on my mind wasn't the word, was I have on 5-inch heels. This is live. And I want this to be my Whitney Houston moment. Like I've never heard the Canadian anthem done in a way that people could be like, that's a soulful rendition. I still kept the melody. I might have helped a few notes. I didn't, because there's been times, I love some of my friends in this business, but they've chopped the anthem up and turned into a whole other jambalaya that I couldn't even sing along. So I'm like,
right.
So you didn't crack either. You didn't crack as well. There's some, you know what I mean? Because it's a large area, right? And you're singing in that, and that's the one that, okay, so the phrase, I love that. But the other part is like, you didn't, like, you were solid across the whole time. And that's like, and you don't hear that in like arenas and stadiums and stuff like that. Like if I've heard people sing at like Skydome, and you're just like, this sounds weird. Right. But the whole recording of you is like, it's so smooth across the whole thing. And I'm like, wow.
Thank you.
For me, it's like you were meant to.
I did a quick session. Sorry to cut you with my.
Nope, not at all.
Nope. She trained me for Carolina Change. And then I didn't think I needed her for the anthem. And then she messaged me. She's like, do you want to do a session? I'm like, actually, yeah. We jumped on. And I'm actually going to post that clip soon online. Because like, she just said, this is the people's anthem. And make sure you don't make it about you. And she just gave me words outside of the technique that I'm shivering again. Okay, you can see I've got goosebumps. And she said, bring joy to the anthem. The people are losing hope. Bring hope.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's advice. Wow.
Yeah, no, wonderful advice.